Holy shit! DeFranco Nation Movie Club. 2 horror movies in 1 month. Both of them have Keith David in them. Coincidence? Maybe. DeFranco Nation Movie Club. This week's movie is Requiem for a Dream. And yes, I categorize this as kind of a horror movie. I'll get to the specifics why in a bit. First, let's talk about this film. So this film is directed by Darren Aronofsky, and written by Darren Aronofsky and Hubert Selby Jr., because it's based on his book, which was published in 1978. And starring Ellen Bernstein, Jared Leto, Jennifer Connelly, and Marlon Wayans as 4 drug addicts and the hell that they go through. I found this movie absolutely compelling, absolutely beautiful and terrifying, and just... there were moments in this film that felt like nails on chalkboard, you know, a noise that you can find nowhere else, and a noise that we all kind of attribute to torture in some way. There are moments in this film that are just kind of painful to watch, and moments in this film that are very heartbreaking to watch. All in all, just a brilliant, beautiful film, but I can see how this film really gets under some people's skin and makes them very uncomfortable, which is why it's also been considered a very controversial film. And what is it? You can find out so many awesome things about this film by reading the trivia section of IMDb. I'm going to read you a couple things right now. Premiere voted this movie as one of the 25 most dangerous movies. This movie fucking earned it. Ah yes, this one. The overhead shot of Marion in the bathtub, followed by her screaming underwater, was an exact replica of a shot in the Japanese animated thriller Perfect Blue. Darren Aronofsky bought the remake rights to the film just to use that one sequence. The Tabby Timmons material was shot in 1 day, with Christopher McDonald improvising a good deal of his material. At the end, the SAG extras and the audience and the crew all gave him a standing ovation, and he fucking earned it. All in all, I love how this film was shot. I love every choice that the director made for the music, for the sequences, the editing, all those quick edits whenever someone's indulging in their own personal addiction, whether it's coffee, pills, marijuana, cocaine, heroin. This movie is absolutely amazing, but this movie is challenging because it will challenge you. It will get under your skin, and it will scare a lot of people who watch it. It's just from the filmic style and from the tragedy of these people. A lot of this film feels like a journey into hell for each of these 4 individuals. Each of them, descend into a different kind of hell. And the tragic element becomes that they're each in a hell of their own making, with the exception maybe of the mother, of Sarah, because of the monologue that she gives about getting old, and how, all of her desires are... stem from that loneliness. That loneliness which is, a frightening inevitability of life, that you may end up old and alone. That, your children will move out, and your spouse might die, and you might end up old and alone one day. This is where, if you can't feel sympathy for her character, I don't know where your heart is, or if you have one. And yes, this largely stems from the idea that she took drugs because something in her mind told her that she just made her feel like she had to in order to fulfill her dream of being on television in her red dress. Not the most ambitious dream in the world, but a dream that, like she said, that dream was all she had left in her old and lonely life. While as the other 3 characters chose to do drugs. They are in a hell of their own making. And just one more hit, one more fix, one more hit, one more fix. And that is the repetitious downward spiral of hell that all 4 of these characters are falling down. It is such a sad and tragic film, and the real tragedy is that these people are doing it to themselves. This is the reality of addiction, and this is the effect that it has on the human mind, the human body, and a lot of the effects, like the jump cuts, the sudden, the way Sarah's refrigerator kept growling at her, the way she would just, hear noises out of the corner of her eye and out of the corner of her mind, the wall-eyed lens effect, the slow motion effect, all these different effects. enhance how your senses turn against you when your brain becomes chemically dependent and thus damaged by chemical dependency. So I apologize for the lighting in this film. I was filming this at sunset, and it seems I've run out of daylight, so I might as well wrap this up quick. The number one reason to see this movie is that director Darren Aronofsky did an absolutely perfect job with this film. This film is a work of art, as is his other film, Pi. I know he also directed Black Swan and The Wrestler. Haven't seen The Wrestler or Black Swan, but I imagine he's just one hell of a filmmaker. All said, DeFranco Nation Movie Club, this was an awesome movie, and I will recommend it. I highly recommend it, but I also will, with my recommendation, will carry the warning, this film might scare you. This film might just scare you as to just how low a person might sink into addiction. You know, what kind of a hell a person goes through when they're going through addiction. I said before that we each have our own private hells, and this movie illustrates that perfectly in terms of how your brain is its own private hell when it's damaged by drugs. Yeah, so this is it. Okay, wow, yeah. So I am totally out of sunlight now. I'm just going to wrap it up then. DeFranco Nation Movie Club, thank you for choosing great movies. This was a great movie. I've heard about this movie for years and finally got around to seeing it, so thank you for choosing great movies. Keep on choosing great movies, and I'll see you next time on DeFranco Nation Movie Club.